In the immortal words of Randy Quaid, I can't swim, Clark. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello, humans. Welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Aquaman together. As usual, if you enjoy this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. And if you enjoy me and my hilarious antics, then be sure to pick up a copy of my book, Side Scroller, available now for purchase on paperback and ebook formats only on Amazon.com. Side Scroller is a swashbuckling adventure romance set in a world that operates entirely on video game logic. It's kind of insane. You like that kind of stuff? You're gonna love this, baby. Now, I know I'm a little late to the party. Like I said, holiday stuff happened, but I finally got around to seeing Aquaman, and I think it was kind of serendipitous that it worked out this way, because guess what? This is the 50th movie review. That's right, 50, that I have done on this channel so far. And that's a little bit of a milestone, which is neat, but it's also kind of a coinky-dink, as the grown-ups call it, because if you think back, way back, my very first ever movie review on Thumb Together was, in fact, Justice League. So we've kind of come full circle, haven't we? We're back here. I'm reviewing an Aquaman movie again. It's a year and 2 months later. Quite a lot has changed, both on the channel and in my life, but here we are, 50 reviews later, and hopefully 50 more. And then maybe about 14 more after that, but that'll be it. So what's the deal with Aquaman? Well, it's Aquaman. It's the story, that we all figured. Aquaman lives up doing this thing on the surface and sometimes swimming around in the water, but he's just kind of his own dude, and he gets pulled into the politics of Atlantis. And Atlantis has a king, and the king is like, I'm king, and some people are like, nah, man, you suck. Aquaman should be king because he's the firstborn heir of the queen. And Aquaman's like, nah, I don't want that. I just want to walk around with my shirt off and punch some folks. And then Amber Heard comes up in a skin-tight green costume, and he's like, I will do whatever you say, because wow. And then she's like, please come help us. And he's like, all right, fine. And then they make friends, and they go and they save Atlantis. And that's it. That's the movie. If you're expecting anything sort of outside the realms of that, you're going to be disappointed. This isn't the kind of movie that throws twists and turns at you. This ain't The Last Jedi, kids. This is just Aquaman, and that's fine. And I don't know yet, but I think it might be my favorite DC movie. Yeah, the jury is still out on that. I mean, DC movies have been hit and miss. We all know that. I really enjoyed Wonder Woman and Man of Steel. I really enjoyed the 3-hour cut of Batman v Superman, but there is something about the Aquaman movie that is just a sheer embracing of all that is fun and crazy. And I like that kind of stuff, and I like that Aquaman didn't pull any punches with it. There is so much lore to Atlantis and the other undersea kingdoms, of which there are 7. Yeah, I thought it was just 1. But no, there's 7 kingdoms under that water. I wasn't expecting that, so I got almost 7 stories for the price of 1, because there's so much there to tap into. I just want to know more. Ever since they announced this movie, I've been a little bit concerned. I'm like, how do you shoot underwater stuff? How do you make it look like that? It boggled my mind. I didn't know how they would do it. And it's, wire work and green screen are your friends, kids, if you want to make a movie like Aquaman. And this can't have been cheap. And the special effects wizardry that they put into it, they really did a good job. Water is everywhere. I mean, you can't escape it. Look, I'm drinking a water right now in this beautiful Zelda cup that my friends James and Aaron got me. You can't get away from water, and it's going to mess up your movie if you're making an Aquaman movie, so you better get used to having water everywhere. It tastes better when the cup says Zelda on it. That's a scientific fact. But the VFX department of Aquaman found a way. They've got them floating around. Their hair is flowing with the tide, and it looked believable. As far as I was concerned, I'm like, yeah, I'm watching a bunch of folks in the middle of the Atlantic right now. I noticed that some of the characters who aren't Aquaman and Mera had their hair up in tight man buns so that they don't have to worry about the flowing hair. I see what you did there, Warner Brothers. I see the corners you cut, but that's okay. That's okay. The movie's still beautiful. One thing I wasn't super overly fond of was the speaking underwater, because they added this weird little echo effect to the audio whenever somebody was speaking underwater. And it took a little while, almost the whole movie, for me to get used to it. And sometimes it was hard to understand. You know, sometimes somebody who's normally kind of quiet or mumbly, like Willem Dafoe, it can be kind of like a growly dude. And he was like, I'm Willem Dafoe. You know, that's how, that's, wow, it's like he's right here in the room. But when he talks underwater and they add that echo effect on top of it, it can get a little tricky to discern what he's saying. And because of that, I missed quite a bit of the underwater dialogue. But that's okay. I guess that just means I'll have to see it again someday. I was very, very pleased with the fact that they turned this story into this globe-trotting treasure hunt, because I love that kind of stuff. That stuff is everything to me. And Aquaman had that quite a bit packed throughout its lengthy runtime. It was about hopping from place to place and water kingdom to water kingdom and meeting the crab people and finding a clue and finding, you know, ancient ruins and all of that stuff. It was really, really cool, fun, old school adventure stuff, and I wasn't expecting that either. I was just expecting a bunch of folks underwater fighting with tridents, and I got that too, but I just got more on top of that. The trident fights, by the way, are spectacular. You know, you don't think a bunch of big dudes with these giant metal forks that probably weigh like a good 60 pounds, you don't think those things look very wieldy. I mean, that doesn't look like the kind of thing that I would want to twirl around and fight with. That just doesn't seem spry enough. But in Aquaman, they make those trident fights work. They're intense. Every time two people go at it with tridents, or even just one person starts twirling a trident around, I got excited. And every trident was unique to its user and had different designs, which was beautiful. It was like water lightsabers at that point. Yes. All kinds of yes. Sure, the dialogue has been criticized, and yeah, it wasn't the greatest dialogue in the world. I mean, when both of the major villains put on their final costumes and revealed themselves, they both had that really cheesy, horrible superhero movie line where they're like, "Don't call me that anymore. Call me my comic booky supervillain name." And it was it was kind of unnecessary, but that's okay. Speaking of those villains, they both looked amazing. I mean, Patrick Wilson rocked it as Ocean Master. You could feel the sort of the Shakespearean-ness of this guy. This is a Shakespearean level villain, and if you know the comics, he does some bad shit later on. We haven't even seen him at his worst yet. And Black Manta, who is my favorite Aquaman character, I'm really happy with the way they portrayed him. He looked perfect. He really looked perfect, and the fight he had with Aquaman was out of this world. James Wan proved to me he can make some dope action scenes. If you only watch Aquaman for one reason, watch it for the action scenes. Trust me. The movie also had another weird trope that I think it could have done without, that was very overused, where characters kept being interrupted by explosions. There was at least like 4 times, maybe 5, where 2 people or more are just sitting around and they're just having a quiet conversation. You know, they're just speaking and things are going on, and they're like, you know, maybe this would be a good idea, or maybe that would be a good idea, and then all of a sudden, like an explosion just breaks into the room and something happens. I literally lost count of how many times that happened in the film. The last time it happened, I just remember laughing at that point. I was like, oh, here we go again. Something else blown up. So I hope, you know, come Aquaman 2, they hold back on those just a little bit. But that's the point of all this, folks, is I am actually really excited for Aquaman 2. I am ready. I want more. Give me more. Give me all of those kingdoms again. Give me more politics of Atlantis. Give me more of Ocean Master. Give me more of the creatures and hidden worlds in the sea. All of that was amazing. This is the first DC movie that really made me feel that way. The first one where I said, yeah, let's go. Start making that sequel right now because I want to watch it. So maybe it's my favorite DC film. Maybe it's not. But it's definitely up there, and it definitely has left me thirsty for more. So that is Aquaman. That's them together. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Andrew Fantasia. I will see you here next time, and until then, adios.